The gun is pressed to my temple while my brothers and Aiden aim at the men holding me. The stranger smiles, promising the market or worse, and Xavier can only stare with murder in his eyes. They told me to stay hidden, so what happens now that I have seen the truth? Cold metal connects with my right temple, and my eyes widen, tears blurring my vision completely, only the silhouettes of the people in front of me visible. I see them all aiming their guns at the 4 men standing by me. Xavier came barging into my room. He pushed the covers off me, exposing my body to the cold air in my room. Only in a tank top and the pair of pajama shorts Summer got me for my birthday, my big brother lead me and my younger brothers to one of the guest rooms. The hallway was dark and I heard the front door open and close before men started speaking Italian. Xavier closed the door and rushed to the wooden bookcase, covering the whole wall in front of the bed. Seconds later and one side of the bookcase was pushed aside, revealing a room. Get in and do not get out no matter what you hear. Me or Aiden will come get you, he told all of us, before making us get into the room. He closed the bookcase and left. I let my body slide down the back of the bookcase that trapped the 4 of us inside. I had my head buried in my hands as I felt deaf from the silence that surrounded me and my brothers. I knew something was wrong. My thoughts were confirmed when shouts could be heard from downstairs. My head shot up and I locked eyes with Zach. I stood up and turned around to push the bookcase open. Avery, what are you doing? Zach asked me. I turned around, giving him an assuring smile, and stepped out. Stay here. With that I closed the wooden furniture behind me and left the guest room. I stood by the end of the stairs looking around. The roses on the table in the middle seemed untouched. The door was closed and the lights were on, and the 2 guards stood on each side of the glass doors outside. The shouting came from the living room, so I took a deep breath and made my way there. Knowing I couldn't let them see me, I stood close to the wall, listening to the loud conversation as unfamiliar and familiar voices yelled at each other in Italian. Careful not to knock down the painting hanging beside my head, I peeked into the living room. 4 men in black suits were all standing with their backs facing me. My brothers and Aiden were facing them. Xavier and Aiden stood in front of the other ones, furious expressions on their faces. I decided that I had seen enough. As I was about to turn, the painting behind my head fell off the wall and landed in the floor with a loud sound, making everyone in the living room turn their attention to me. 8 pairs of eyes were looking at me. Half of them made me feel extremely uncomfortable, while the others let me know that I was in big trouble for coming downstairs. I gulped. The man that was standing furthest away from me smirked before looking back at my brothers, and then back at me. He was shorter than everyone else, maybe a few inches taller than me. He had a face clean from any facial hair, as well as hair on his head. He wore a black suit that seemed to be tighter around his round stomach, and he seemed to be around his 50s. Who do we have here? He spoke, his Italian accent thick. I didn't dare to move. The man took a few steps toward me, his dress shoes clinking like heels as he walked on the tiled floor. Avery, I heard Hunter warn as he moved his eyebrows, trying to tell me something. I didn't understand what he was trying to tell me. I got the hint that he wanted me out of here, but it was too late. The man had already approached me, and he was a few inches taller than me. The evil smirk on his wrinkled face sent an uneasy feeling to my stomach, and I took a step back. What's your name, Bambla? He asked, his face so close to my face I could smell his breath. It smelled like cigarettes and whiskey. Absolutely disgusting. Avery. I answered him, but it came out as a question. Didn't know you had a bella signora in the house? Xavier. He chuckled, and I looked at Xavier, who looked at the man with furious eyes, daring him to make a move. My eyes moved over to Aiden, whose expression matched my brother's. Leave her alone, Vanni. Xavier spoke. I've never heard Xavier's voice so threatening before. Avery, get upstairs. Now. Aiden instructed me sternly, and I gave him a slight nod. I turned my back and took a step, but before I got any further, a hand around my neck stopped me. Fear was the only thing I felt in my body as the rough, masculine hand held a firm grip around my neck, pressing me up against a hard chest. Let her go, Xavier says, his voice low and dangerous. My eyes fly open. It felt like minutes since I've closed them, but I know it's only been seconds. The gun is still pressed up against my temple. I look at Xavier, who's watching the man with furious eyes, his hands holding a good grip around his gun, as he points it on the man. I look at the others and they are aiming guns too. The man lets out a humorless laugh. Cosa ti fa pensare che lo farò? I could get good use of her, maybe the market. Or better, have her to myself? The man chuckles. I hold my breath. I don't know what he meant by the market, but the second part of his sentence makes my insides turn in disgust. So, do we make an alnza, or do I take this bambla with me? The man asks, taking his hand away from my neck and running it down my cheek and the line of my jaw and back to my neck again in a seductive manner, which makes me shiver. The man hums behind me as he waits for the guys to answer him, even though the moment doesn't last long. I instinctively take a step forward just as his body falls beside me, after a gunshot is heard. The men that stood beside me seem to freeze for a moment as they watch what I assume is their boss bleed out on the floor. Blood surrounds his lifeless body as it runs out of the wound on his forehead like a river. An arm wraps around my forearm and tugs me back. Xavier's familiar chest touches my back as the other men snap out of their trance and aim their guns at my brothers and Aiden. None of them have time to shoot before they join their dead boss on the floor. My heart skips several beats and my breath hitches in my throat as I see the dead bodies a few feet away from my feet. My mouth is slightly agape and tears start streaking down my face. They're dead. Are you okay? Hunter asks me, worried. I turn around to face all of them. I don't answer. I can't. Why did you get out of there? It was dangerous. I told you to stay in there. Xavier shouts at me. A sob escapes my throat. Xavier's furious expression softens and he sighs before pulling me onto his chest. I close my eyes and sob more. I probably sound like a dying whale, but I don't care. The men died. I feel the wetness of my tears as I lean my forehead against my brother. They died. I sob. All the others keep quiet as he tries to calm me down. SHH. He whispers, leaning his head on mine. We stay like that for a few minutes, me crying and Xavier trying to assure me everything is fine. I don't believe him.